Okay, it says end stream. I think it's working now. All right, let me send the new link. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. I think we're up. Let me edit the messages. Sorry, everyone. Don't know what OBS did there, but it was streaming, but I guess it wasn't streaming. Were you checking this lineup, Dino?
What?
For this
What
evening?
lineup?
What do you mean, bro?
I've not looked at the lineup. However, it's still not working.
That's impossible.
Yeah. Still says waiting for Flock. Premiering at 3:01 p.m. April 4th, and it's 3:05.
What the fuck? I don't understand. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, I'll show you the screen. Look at this. Literally says live.
Yeah, I see that.
So how?
Are we not feefing tonight? Is that what's happening here?
We might not be able to.
Tonight? Is that what's happening?
It's live. Hang on. Maybe I just streamed. Did I share the wrong link? The new link may be wrong. Dino's wrong. It's live. Oh, okay. I'm being trolled.
It's not live for me, bro.
What?
Look.
What?
Like this.
I just put up new
That's
link.
what it's saying.
Put up like what I'm trying to say is like click the new link. I think you're on the old one. I posted the.
Oh, hey, it's working.
Okay, it is working.
Okay.
I was like, this is bullshit. All right. Yeah, the lineup's looking fucking awesome this evening, Dino. I'm surprised. I'm surprised you didn't see it. But
I ain't been peeking.
Well, it's gonna be fire. It's 7 p.m. Friday. Are you in here? All right, let's just see if the levels of this are all good.
It's 3 p.m. Friday.
Well, it's 6 p.m. where I am. I don't know, dude. Time is weird, you know? It just depends on where we are, right? Yeah, it's all relative. Yeah. But anyway.
As Raph would say, it's a construct.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of constructs, look at that. Look at that construct over there. I don't know if you can see her.
It's really hard to, but I see her. Just out there in the... Looks like... Is that dirt or sand or grass?
It's really sad looking grass.
Sad looking grass. Okay. All right. All right. Well, yeah, I think we're ready to go. He's got the questions in here. It's 7 p.m., my guys. I assume, you know, it's 7 somewhere.
She's it's 7 p.m. Friday. It's money by the creek. I ain't got no nigga, and no nigga ain't got me. Let's go. I'm about to show my ass. These niggas love freak. How the fuck is that your man? If he right here with me, turned up with my niggas, turned up with my bitch, turned up in my shows, yeah, cause I got that blick. 60,000 fans came to see me do my dance. Got 1,000,001 haters, and they y'all can kiss my ass. Turned up with my niggas, turned up with my bitch, turned up in my shows, yeah.
Oh no.
Let me just get like 10 seconds in the middle again, please.
Yep.
I'm showing off my moves. I'm feeling good today. I'm outside with your bike. Got a brown skin nigga.
That's good. All right, thank you.
All right. So
You want to go first, or am I kicking it off?
You kick us off, Dino. You kick us off. Flex.
All right, so in the actual meat and potatoes of the track, the kick and the sub relationship is just fine. Not one is overpowering or louder than the other, but towards the end of the track, when you go lower with the sub bass, the kick stays higher and it becomes kind of funky because the kick comes through louder on my not as well tuned of a sound system as like what most dubstep shows would have. And then let's see, is the vocal sitting well in the mix? I only have an EQ8 on it now. Do y'all think it needs more EQing post-processing? I'm going to skip that and go straight to question 3. What is one thing you would change about this track? I would get rid of the vocal.
Oh shit.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, I guess.
I understand that.
I think I
I
can
understand
see
the
where you're
need
coming
to have that mid element in the track, and it does fill in like a lot of the frequency space, and that's important to have. I just don't feel like it's the right vocal snippet. Or if you are going to do something like this, like have it as like an MC track at a show or something. I wasn't feeling the vocal on this one. I felt like it detracted more than it added. However, was it clean? Did it sit well in the mix? Was it perfectly placed and everything? Yes, absolutely. I wouldn't process it or anything like that if you are going to keep the vocal. But the one thing I would change about that track is I would control X the vocal. So yeah,
That's surprising.
That's my take.
Okay. All right. So I guess I mean, you basically were spot on with the kick and sub, so I don't know if I really need to go over it again, but I mean, one way you can just guarantee that they're at the same level is just make sure that each of them are hitting some kind of like a dynamically controlling thing aggressively, whether that's like a clipper or a limiter, that's up to you. But you can always push it into that slightly until you start getting reduction and then reduce it. And then you'll know that it's at whatever decibel you've set it at. And if both are hitting around the same decibel, they should be pretty close. But
Ian's right. The basic listeners are going to want the vocals. The real dub heads are not going to care for it.
Yes. And that's kind of why, like, I actually am in the opposite boat. I think that the funk vocals are pretty cool. They're not a bad idea. I think it's just that, in my opinion, with this song, you kind of make them take like a backseat to the main mid basses. And in my opinion, as soon as you add those vocals, especially where they have to be like the most forward element in the mix. Like, I feel like the mid basses can't even be as forward as the vocal. So that's the sacrifice, right? Like, that's why you don't get as much cool mid bass timbral quality stuff. But you get those vocals, and the vocals are kind of,
or you could follow the rhythmic flow of the vocals like exactly. I just felt like it was they weren't in sync enough for me, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. I see what you're saying. I'm not disagreeing with you, by the way. It's just, I know what he's trying to go for, I think, and I think that the funk vocals can work, but they have to be like, as soon as you add them, they're like the main thing. Unfortunately, right? Or I say unfortunately because I really like the weird, wacky bass stuff more. But Ian flexed hard on his statement where, obviously this version of it is a little bit more like approachable for
friendly
most people. Yeah. But still a really cool song. That was dope. I think that was a fun one. You should definitely keep working on this. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much, Frankie. All right, next up. Oh, wait, did I say the one thing I would change about this track?
Yeah, you said you would also Control Z the vocals.
Control X, all right? Control X.
Yeah, sorry, Control X, not Control Z. Yeah, Control X.
I mean, if I was to change one thing, I would do more timbre, like more diversity in timbre of main mid bass. But you know me, that's like a reoccurring theme. I just love it when like things get all like crazy with the timbre.
So I am gonna humbly and respectfully disagree with that. I felt like it's not long enough to where it gets boring, and sometimes that repetitive and it did change up a little bit like throughout the track. It wasn't exactly the same the whole time. I can see what you're saying, and I definitely agree. You should always try and add more timbre characteristics to a track, but I wouldn't say that this track needed that per se. But
Work.
that's just like my opinion, brother.
Hell yeah. Yeah. No, I'm just yeah.
I would say that it needed more space in the mid range though, and you could get that space in the mid range by control Xing those.
Yeah, Frank. It sounds like you're going to be control Xing these vocals any minute now. But anyway, thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
All right.
Project Hyperdrive.
Yeah, we're about to be going into some stratosphere. Not sure which one yet. It's crazy.
Fatality.
For real though.
Finish
I was thinking the
it.
same thing.
Go ahead, Mag.
Yeah. Okay, so how is the mixing? I actually thought it was pretty good. I thought the mix was not bad. There's one thing that was sticking out to me. I don't know if it's weirdly or not. I don't know if it's like, it's just like a thing that I would like is some separation between all of the elements in the upper frequencies. So like when you have,
It's the high end is a little cluttered.
yeah, like so you have like everything kind of mushing together a little bit, which is okay, but I feel like it would be even better if you have separation between all the elements. So like for example, if you had like when the mid basses are playing, you're dynamically removing frequencies out of the other high frequency stuff that's there so that they feel more forward in the mix. I feel like that's something that would help tremendously. Same with things like the overheads and the pads or, you know, something along those lines. I would start exploring that kind of thought process because this song is crazy cool. The arrangement's amazing. Sound design is on point. I mean, even the mix down is quite good. It's really just that little bit of separation, and I think you're flexing. But anyway, that's my answer to the first question. What kind of atmosphere are you getting from the song? Yeah, definitely Mortal Kombat. Sorry. Mortal Kombat. Maybe even also, what's that? Halloween? Is it Halloween is the one I'm thinking of? What's the Friday the 13th? Maybe that's the movie I'm thinking of. I'm trying to think of the horror.
I also got the NBA to the you know that one?
Yeah. Oh god. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad. I do think that it's dangerous, but I also don't like to sound like other people. So that's kind of a personal thing. But apart from that, yeah, I think that the atmosphere is great. It's like also really like spooky, but also mystical. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, yeah, spooky mystical type beat. But yeah, anyway, those are my my opinions on that. And then, does it make sense for it to end where it does, or should I make it longer? Um, that's the dude. I'm feeling what you're feeling because my song's in a similar boat. My song that will be listening to at some point. It's like really short, but it also doesn't feel like it needs to be longer. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with my gut feeling and say it's fine. But let's hear it from Dino. Those are my thoughts. That was a cool track.
1 and 2, I'm not going to repeat what Magdit said, so take that how you will. And then for the third one, should it end where it ends? I mean, that's like an artistic choice, brother. You know, you might want to. You could consider throwing like an intro and an outro on this, just to add like uh 27 seconds here and there. 54 seconds altogether. Like intro, outro. A little bit, make it a little more DJ mixable, I guess. If that's your goal, or if you just want people to listen to it on their laptops and cell phones, then 2 minutes is like, I feel like is like the perfect brain rot. Because what YouTube Shorts and TikToks are 3 minutes now, but YouTube Shorts are like up to 90 seconds, right, or something like that. So you're right in that doom scrolling ballpark. Other pieces of feedback, I think everything below 1K was perfect. I felt like we could have used a little more silence in the bass region, like periodically throughout the track, but it wasn't like overwhelming like some tracks we've heard in the past. Not from you, but from other people. Like where the low end gets to be overwhelming. I thought the levels of everything, the interplay between the kick, the snare, and the bass was really well placed. So yeah, but definitely giving like PlayStation X fucking vibes for sure. You could even try downsampling everything to fucking 96K and see what it sounds like then. 8-bit it all. I don't know. Don't do that. don't do that. But like I feel like the cleanliness and the pristine nature of the high end in this track is lost because there's just so many pristine elements in the high end. So that is like my one big piece of feedback is clean up that high end. Because it like I have some of the best like high frequency producing speakers and it sounded not great. So versus the mid and the lows sounded fantastic. So yeah. That's my piece of feedback. We're really chugging along today, aren't we, Magnet?
Yeah. No, but I feel the same way, dude. That high end, like this is almost fire as fuck, but then it's like you lose all the instruments together.
There's too much high end. Maybe like give them their own space or like
one thing that I've oh wait, I didn't mean to interrupt you. What were you gonna say?
Put a multi-band band pass on each one and give them their own space. Don't do that. Actually, that could be fire. I don't know. Try it.
That can be good.
Control Z that shit, or Command Z, because you're on. Well, I don't know how you would even do something like that. So ideally, you would have like a low pass, and then you'd have a band pass in the high end, and then those would be running parallel to each other. And then you would give the band pass on each instrumentation, each thing like its own space, and you'd determine that based off of like the timbral qualities of like what sounds good and like 3K, 5K, 10K, 15K. Like you'd give them their own spaces, right? And my recommendation would be in 1, 3, 5, 10, and 15, like in those regions to give them their own, separation, and maybe even have like a little bit of like quietness between those areas, just depending on like the Q value that you choose on your band pass. But yeah. No, go ahead, Maggie. You're gonna make a comment.
No, yeah, I'm basically thinking the same thing. Like some level of multi-band processing that is revolving around like the stereo space as well as the frequency area.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Both of those I feel are really helpful for these kinds of problems. So yeah, I would definitely explore stereoizing certain frequencies and maybe even like EQing certain ones out of other ones when they're happening. I mean, it's what is that? Like it's dynamic EQing, sidechain dynamic EQing. That's basically what you need. And I think you can do that. I can't remember if Surge has Pro Q or I'm sure that's probably something that band, not Bandcamp, sorry, GarageBand can do.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe. So that being said, I'm
Can't
willing to wager
sidechain in
that,
GarageBand. No. Oh,
brother, just move up to Ableton. It's not get even Ableton Live Lite will do you better. Go buy an $80 MIDI keyboard that comes with an Ableton Live Lite key, and then just return the keyboard without the key.
yeah.
Come on, dude. Scumbag the next guy.
If you can't sidechain, that is a bit of a big deal. That's a pretty bad thing. I think he should just upgrade to Logic. That's like, in my opinion, the most sensible thing, considering he's already been using GarageBand, which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
as
but
Logic.
he's gonna end up in Ableton eventually.
Oh yeah, well,
anyway.
I mean, obviously, it would be better for him to just jump on the Ableton bandwagon, but we can't force that. You know, I feel like he should know that Logic is still a good DAW. It's a really good DAW, but yeah,
we got milk and cookies, brother. Come join us.
yeah,
Nothing bad will happen to you here.
That's true, but yeah, being able to sidechain, in my opinion, is a pretty critical thing.
Yeah, it's really important. I would also, like I said, I'm willing to wager that if you listen to this on a cell phone or a laptop, it's just going to sound like a jumble of white noise.
Yes, yeah, the high end, because there's no separation. It's just like one. It's like listening to white noise, yeah, for like a period of time, which is unfortunate because it is a cool idea. It's a really fucking cool idea.
Also, Fritz is right. FL Studio, you can get a perpetual license for like $99. It doesn't come with all the plugins or anything. Is it 99 or is it $199 now? I don't know. When I got it, it was 99. That was like in 2008 or 2009.
Let's just see.
And that runs on Mac, and that's a perpetual license. You will never lose it.
So,
yeah, Fruity Edition.
Fruity Edition is 99.
Yeah. But that's no audio recording, no stem separation.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, no, you go 179.
You would have to get that. There's no way you wouldn't get that. But yeah, $179 and you're set forever. So
and you can sidechain.
And you can sidechain. And FL Studio is kind of gas, actually. It's pretty dope.
Yeah. So yeah, it would just sound like
we're like FL Studio salesmen. All right.
Well, it's the cheapest next best option, right?
Yeah, but I still think that in my opinion, it makes the most sense for him to just go to Logic, because he already knows GarageBand and the two are almost identical.
How much is Logic? Logic is like $299, right? $499, something like that.
Is it really? Holy shit.
Yeah. Logic X Pro.
Is it actually that expensive? Oh wait, this did not.
It's from Apple. Yeah.
Oh, it is this.
Yeah.
So to buy
click the buy button.
$200.
$199. Just go to Logic.
Yeah. I would say he should just buy Logic.
I can't in good conscience recommend Logic to anyone, because then you're not going to be able to sit with us at the table. I'm just saying, you're going to have to go watch Logic producers, and you're going to end up making chintzy hip hop and lo-fi beats for fucking teenage boys and girls. I guess that would be your demographic. Never mind.
All I know is I've used Logic. I had to use it back in school, and it's good. It's used by a lot of people. It's just there's a lot of things about like Logic being like Mac only that can limit you when it comes to like collaboration and things like that. It's easier, like that's the one thing about other DAWs that's kind of nice, or most DAWs anyway, is they're cross-platform. So like you can work with somebody who has a Linux computer or a Mac or a PC. It doesn't matter. Whereas with Logic, like unless you're running some kind of a virtual computer, which I'm not, I don't think most people are, then you won't be able to run it. So
I would make the statement about Logic that in their quest to be Pro Tools adjacent,
they are Pro Tools adjacent.
Like if you're doing live recording and you're doing tracking, that kind of stuff, Logic is the best choice if you're in the Mac environment. But that's not what we're doing here. I don't think that is within the scope of our focus.
That's true.
Yeah, go to Reason, bro. Come on, man. Give them the $29 a month or whatever it is for their forever subscription. Never actually own your software. Have to be online all the time. Go for Reason. Why not?
So true.
Learn how to wire a fucking mixer. That shit drove me crazy, dude. I used Reason and Logic in school too. Logic was all right.
Yeah,
but
Reason I would not recommend to somebody. I would not recommend Reason.
Having to press tab to flip around the back of the thing and route everything. But I mean, I learned routing that way, so that's cool. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right.
Well, thank you.
Terry
Thank you,
Yai
Surge.
by Alokik Mahdi.
Yeah.
Is this someone we've seen before? Was this the same guy from last week?
I think so.
We had him last week too, right?
I think so. Yeah. I'm like 99% sure. I've definitely seen his picture. So yeah.
Were we mean to him last week? I feel like I was mean to everyone last week.
I don't know. I think so. I think so. All right, well, let's see. Let's see here.
That's crazy. Never heard Stan music that didn't have the fucking you know what I'm talking about, like that kind of rhythm. That was crazy, bro.
Oh yeah.
That was crazy. Is the mix okay? No, it's not. Any issues with the low end? Yes. More can I do in the production? Fix the mix in the low end, and I'm about to tell you how. Those are my suggestions. Is the mix okay? So your upbeat element. So in the beginning, it's like a I don't know, like a rim shot wood block snap kind of clap thing. Not loud enough, doesn't cut through the mix enough. Same thing with the snare later on. It's it makes it hard to like get that head bob effect, you know, because you can't. I was having trouble doing the light bulb dance. You guys know the light bulb dance. Where are my brown people at?
We know.
And I feel like it was because of a lack of the it was there was no like real upbeat element. Yeah, it's crazy, Dino. Look at me just being casually racist against myself, huh? And then let's see. I feel like there wasn't that much good of a in the low end. At least there wasn't that good of a relationship between the kick and the bass and the snare and the bass. That could be like a sidechain issue, probably. I would imagine is what was going on there. I wasn't really picking up too much ducking and dipping going on there, but
I second the lack of ducking and dipping.
Yeah. Second. Yeah. Watch dodgeball. Duck, dodge, dip, dive, duck, dodge. If you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a sub bass. So So, yeah. Any suggestions? Yeah. Okay. So there was like some kind of like spectral filtered stuff that was happening in there that I thought was really nice. I would focus on that kind of stuff a little more. Maybe either process the vocals more or process the vocals less and bring them to the front. Make them a more of a like focal point of this track. Just because there is not, but I mean, I guess once you fix the clap snap snare situation, which by the way, that snare was really low, like in the low region low. Yeah, once you fix that situation, you might not need to have like the vocal to be so forward, but I would try bringing the vocal forward anyway. And then in the end, in the second half, where that second sausage is, maybe don't just crash it straight into like a whole bunch of huge bass, especially with nothing like book ending it, like no kick or anything to start it out. Give us some sort of like transient impulse on that bass, especially when it comes in. It just kind of just comes in, and that's not
fake out type
how,
energy.
That's not generally how drops work. They don't just you don't just hit them with a sine wave. But yeah. No, I really like this. Don't take me wrong, dude. You saw me doing the light bulb dance. That's the typical Persian.
That's how you can tell if your track is good or bad.
Light bulbs. No. So here's a joke. If you ever watch like Persian people dancing and Indian people dancing, they put their hands up and they twist their wrist like you're screwing in a light bulb. So it's called the light bulb dance.
Damn. Well, all right.
I'm out here breaking open the gates. But,
Jesus.
Yeah, go ahead, Magnet.
All right, so you pretty much covered everything mix-wise. I mean, the big thing that I would just double down on that I will say is you should really make sure your side chain is side chaining. That is like, here's the thing, like there
is a little bit there. It's just not doing.
I don't think there's any, honestly.
Just a little bit with the kick.
Maybe. All I can say is I'm gonna go ahead and guess that there is none or a little. I would make sure to really feel when that kick is doing like a kick, it should be more forward in the mix. Yeah, exactly. Dino's flexing.
Do I have to draw up a kick bass side chain snare relationship meme?
That could be good. That could be helpful. Yeah. You could educate a lot of people, but yeah, like it's one of those things where it's so important. Like without it, it feels like there's no impact when there should be on the downbeats. You know what I mean? Like you lose all of the energy. Really, you're missing out on energy, which is not good. The energy is what lets you dance and move and feel things. So you want to make sure to keep things going.
It's what burns out those light bulbs, so they need changing.
Exactly. Anyway, question 2. Any issues with the low end? Yes. It's really just so there's like this hole, which is fine. I can see you've high passed a lot of stuff. I would say instead of making the high pass so aggressive of a pole value, so like instead of it being, I'll even show you.
Is this the guy that we roasted last week for not knowing how to use an EQ?
It might have been, but I don't know.
Did he go too hard on the EQ this week? I'm sorry, guy.
Maybe, but here's the thing. So there's 2 types of poles, at least inside of Ableton, but this is what you need to know. This is kind of what you have going on. You have this brick wall thing going. I would recommend more of this, like a softer slope. Just because when you have this hole here, let me go back to here. When you have this hole, it's not horrible, but I think in the context of this style of music, you're removing a lot of the warm analoginess of the real instruments that are happening.
Bro got told to cut the second harmonic, and he was like, "Fuck the third and fourth ones too."
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, I'll cut them. I will fucking cut them," which is it's fine. It's definitely a vibe. But yeah, just a suggestion there. As far as the sub, though, other than that kind of disconnection from the sub and the rest of the song, I think that the kick, not side chaining, or if it is side chaining very little, it's just like all you feel is the sub, and there's no like, it's just kind of like this monotonous feeling because there's no interrupting of it. And I would say at times it even felt warbly. I don't know if that's the right word to describe it, but it just didn't feel very sturdy and determined, you know, whether it was the kick or the sub. Each of those need to feel very like, I'm the only thing going on right now. Okay. Like that's basically between the two of them, of course. Okay. Obviously there's stuff that you can layer on top, but for the most part, yeah. If it's a kick or a sub, only one of those should be happening at the same time. But of course, as Dino has said, there's a slight nuanceness to it to where you want the crossfade of it, which, yeah, I think the meme, you should write that down, or maybe I'll write it down, because that would be a good meme to have. But anyway, question 3, what more can I do in the production? I feel like it's a pretty cool arrangement. I don't know. Like, I feel like this would be a good song to practice mixing and mastering on, to be quite frank with you. But the one thing I feel like it wants some kind of a mid bass. You know what I mean? Like it wants, like, maybe it's just because you have this big hole there between the sub and the rest of the track, but I don't know. There's a part of me that would like, even if it's a simple mid bass, right? Like a saw or whatever, right? Like just something like one of those like old school vintage saw basses, saw leads. What about low end phase crossover? What in relation to what, Hookie?
He's talking about phase alignment.
Oh, I guess it doesn't. I see what you're saying for the high pass recommendation. I guess it doesn't matter unless you have low end in it. So, oh, you're just making shit up. Oh, I feel like because you're high passing it, there's no low end there. So, what low end are you talking about that will create phasing issues?
So, not to go on a tangent here, but I think a huge problem with making like music like this that maintains an ethnic sound, because I struggle with this too, is that, like, traditionally speaking, and of course this goes with all, like, the sub bass as an entity did not exist until like the 70s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
you're not
when the
wrong.
first when the first synthesizers came. So it's kind of hard to juggle maintaining, like, especially some that vocal is obviously microtonal, which, by the way, good job matching the pitch of the vocal and keeping in key with the rest of the track. That was pretty clever. I don't know how you managed to do that, or maybe you just pitched the vocal about, but it sounds like it's not in a standard Western intonation. That being said, though, like, if you think traditional music from that region is just one big kick drum, like one big bass drum that a dude wears on his chest, and boom, 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 you know, and that, like, you get like one tone, one kick sound, right? So if you try and like recreate something like that in the modern sense, and maybe I'm just talking to myself right now, it's like hard to translate that forward. You know what I mean? And I'm thinking, like, primarily, like, if you think of like Diwali music with like the tablas and the big drum that makes the sound, you know what I'm talking about? It's just like, that's like, you just get the one tone. So I don't know, maybe that's why it just sounds so strange, and maybe we're also just not used to digesting this kind of music. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No, I mean,
I'm
definitely
curious
a
to
cool
hear.
vibe, right? Like, I feel like this
Yeah.
track is really unique and interesting. I feel like
I want to know what Terry yawed, and why is Terry yawing?
true.
Yeah, Terry yaw.
Yeah, but no, that's I think that's all. I don't really have much else to add. But yeah, definitely first thing I would work on if I was you is sidechain, for sure. Definitely a really nice tool to have in the toolkit for things in production. Oh boy.
Okay.
I didn't realize.
Slurping.
I didn't realize it was this guy.
Yeah, we getting stopped. We getting stopped by the cops out here.
I guess so. Well, this is exciting. Here we go. He just doesn't disappoint.
Go ahead, Mac.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, are some of the frequencies on the main bass a little too harsh, or have I adequately beaten them into submission? I'm just making sure. I feel like this is my opinion on it, because I'm still kind of trying to figure this out as well. I think a little bit of harshness, like just a little gentle like nudge, is sometimes okay, because the first time listening to the song, it's a vibe. But then I feel like it removes some of the replayability of the vibe. So I'm wondering if like it is slightly too harsh. Just like a little bit though. And it's only on moments. Like, let me see if I can find a moment. Right? Like when you're hitting those moments, like I'm wondering, like, is it really a big deal or not? Because it feels like
It's not. It's
like
fine.
It's probably fine. But I don't know. Anyway, that's like a hard one, actually, like quite a difficult one. But does the flow lose some of the oomph in the second drop? I'm sorry. Yeah, in the second drop, absolutely. I felt like the first drop was so like complex and nutty, and then the second drop, I felt it like lose complexity. But I'm wondering if maybe you just like do a faster transition, you know, like just start going into the next track sooner, or start your outro sooner, whichever way you want to look at it. that could be a vibe, because I do think the second drop is kind of dope, and it might be just a nice little like segue into something else. But yeah, I don't know. Those are my thoughts. What?
I'll address it. I'll address it.
Okay. The last question. How do we feel about the intro? Is the sub heavy or lacking proper build energy? I actually thought the intro was great, but I think the breakdown into this second drop, it just felt a little bit, I know it's not the same thing, but the build up into this second drop just feels like off-putting. Like it's not quite enough of a heads up. But I felt the first one was fine. I felt this whole section was great. So yeah, hopefully that helps. But yeah, those are my thoughts. That was crazy. That was like so awesome.
Blurple rain, blurple rain. Sorry. Are some of the frequencies in the main bass a little too harsh, or have I adequately beaten them into submission? If you guys want to see how to do a full sounding high end without it being too cluttered, honestly just reference this track. Why not? I know we were talking about cluttered high frequencies earlier. This had a lot of high frequency content. It was loud high frequency content. It was not grating high frequency content, so don't worry about that. But it was subdued and tasteful. It was just the right amount. It's just the right times. So no, it was not too harsh. You did adequately beat them into submission. You might have beaten them a little bit too hard. My dog didn't like this track, but my neighbors loved it. So I'll just leave that at that. What doggy? Oh, is your human here? Her human is here. She wants to see him. Okay. Does the flow in the second drop lose some oomph that the first drop has as it gets a little glitchier, more hectic? This could be I didn't perceive like too much of a drop in energy, but something that I know I recommended to you in the past is maybe swap drop 1 and drop 2. Or even cut some of the bass out of drop 1 and give us all of the bass in drop 2, so that we can get like that really like low end glitchy gritty, hey yo dude. All right, yes, I like you too. And then how do we feel about the intro? Is it too sub heavy or lacking proper energy / build or energy build? I think the sub bass lasts a little bit too long in the build. I feel like there was like that one, it's either a fifth jump or an octave jump that happens right before you cut the bass. I feel like I shouldn't have been able to hear that. I shouldn't have perceived that. And I'm listening with the sub here. So, I felt like the sub went a little bit too long in the beginning. But yeah, those are my takes on that. Once again, appreciate you, Hokey. Do I taste good? Is that what this is? Okay, go. All right, yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Yeah, that was crazy. Mix was
Yeah, it was
really
nuts.
nice. Love
What was that snare tone, dude, in the beginning? The whole, or I don't know if you want to do the whole track.
The bit crush automation, frequency automation there is so big brain. That was
And also,
a treat.
is that like a racquetball in a racquetball court? Is that what that snare is? That's what it sounds like, or like a tennis ball or something.
Yeah, it does. It sounds like almost. So clean.
It's not in the main drop. It's just in the intro. I think that really metallic. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, but the bit crush is awesome.
That goes way too hard.
Oh, Killer Hearts.
Disallowed amounts of hardness.
Yeah, dude. That was dope. That was fucking crazy. Well, thank you again, Hokey. As always, it's a treat. Next up, we got Lagan. Like Gurren Lagann, you know that. I don't know if you ever heard of that anime, but it's a classic.
It's an anime about a drill robot. I just want to throw that out there.
It's a classic. It's a classic, bro. I love the episode towards the end where they're throwing galaxies at each other, and I'm like, this is so silly. Anyway, all right, here we go.
All right.
Flex.
Okay. Are the vocals and the guitar well balanced in the mix throughout the track? I didn't even know that there was a guitar in this track. So there's your answer to that question. Is the vocal processing like reverb delay enhancing the feel, or does anything sound off or overdone? Um, I don't know. I would I would imagine, because it didn't feel grating having it there, but I would miss it if it were gone, if that makes sense. Like I can't notice that it's there, but I would notice if it was not there. Um, and that's usually like how I want to be with bus effects type stuff, like reverb and delay. Like you'll notice its absence, but you won't notice if it's there, and that's generally a good place you want it to be, unless you want to use it as some sort of like effect. But on vocals, unless you're doing like a reverb throw or something like that, you generally just want like a touch of reverb and a touch of delay. So I would say it was enhancing the feel. It did not feel overdone. Um, does the mix during the drop hit with the clarity and impact it needs, or does it lose some of the energy due to balance issues? Maggie, what was the lowest tone on the fundamental that played in this track?
I actually wasn't looking, but I know it was pretty low. B0, I think, instead of B0. Either B0.
B0.
Wait, that's below C0. That's crazy.
Okay.
That is
And then we go
nutty.
And then we go all the way up to A1. Okay. In the same bar. So I go from like no bass at all. Okay. Even though there's objectively bass, like there's bass content there, but nothing can reproduce that. Like, unless you're talking like 21-inch Hennessy Battle Axe systems, which I don't have that. Do you have that? I don't have that. But I am sitting with a consumer grade subwoofer that like a lot of people do have, as far as people who have subwoofers. Like this is a very popular one. And it kills A1. You'll hear A1 down the street. I promise you they heard that down the street. And it's just like do do do, right? So that was kind of jarring, getting just punched in the face with a whole bunch of bass, like periodically. Like if you have like sustained like bass content, like for instance, go back a track, go listen to Hoki's track where you have like sustained bass all within the same region in the same tight space. But that's because Hoki's making music for people who have sound systems like I do. So that's not really a fair comparison. Like I am his target audience. I don't know who your target audience is, but I would imagine if they're listening on one of these things, right, or on a laptop, that they're not going to be able to hear that. So it comes back to the same issue that another user had earlier, where it's just going to sound like this is you'll hear like fuzzy vocals on a cell phone listening to this. I'm pretty sure. That being said, I don't know who wrote Forever Young. Forever Young, I want to be forever young. You guys know that one, right? Yeah, I'm sure. I hope.
Absolutely, dude. That's a classic.
Yeah. The whole first 30 seconds of that track felt like it could have been from Forever Young. Like just play like 10 seconds in, Mag, do it. Let's hear. Right? Or am I wrong?
No, you're right. That's funny as fuck. But I'm sorry. Yes, you're right.
Okay.
Damn, that is like spot on.
All right. That being said, if your track kind of sounds like another track and you're concerned about the guitar and the vocals, it might be in your best interest to reference said track. And I would do that. And I would do that here. Just because I feel like, yeah, the guy that sings Forever Young, he's singing a little lower than whatever that female question mark vocal is. But I feel like it's close enough, and that song has guitar, it has bass, it has the do 80s drums, you know.
I guess the only thing it might not have is as much of like a house vibe to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Only thing
And
that
it
would
also
do
probably
this.
doesn't have as much sub bass as this track has. And that's another thing. There's a lot of bass in this track. It's not always audible, but when it is, it's a lot. And the inaudible bass is also a lot of bass. It's just inaudible because my stuff can't reproduce it. But I'm getting the feeling, Magno, were you able to hear that B0, C0,
Not really.
et cetera? Were you able to hear that in your headphones?
Just barely.
And your
barely.
headphones are known for what?
For being able to reproduce low end quite well. Maybe not sub,
Yeah.
like feeling the sub. Like I didn't feel my whole fucking room shake because it was that low. Because it probably would have. But yeah, it was definitely a lot quieter than anything else. Like if
Yeah.
where is it? Okay, like that for example. No one's gonna be able to really feel that. Well, okay, maybe not. Maybe not.
Chad is spitting packs right here. I try to bottom out around 40 hertz at the lowest. Usually start my bass in D minor 0. I don't know what the minor means. D sharp 0 possibly is as low as I generally go to. But sometimes I'll dip my toes into the C sharp area or the D area. But for sure, like D sharp 0 is generally like as low as you is recommended going.
Yeah,
Is that
I think I know why as well. This like little thing was messing with me. So like you also really want sturdiness in your subs. Like whenever you have like this rumbliness in volume or things like that, it just doesn't feel like as good. I mean, unless you're going for a very like movie sort of like, special effects from a movie type sound, then maybe. But I feel
find
like,
out. Bro has dual 15-inch SVS subs. They go down to 10 hertz. You never know.
yeah, but in the context of this, yeah, like a smooth sub, I think would be good because it would just add like a
So
nice smooth in the right, obviously the right range as chat was describing. Yeah, above 40 hertz, preferably.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
so
that would
so
help a lot.
and I hate to be biblical with my parables here, but like you want to build your house on a foundation of stone, right? You want it to be solid and smooth and sturdy. You want a good solid foundation in which you build your track on, right? And it's like Magdo was saying, if you're gonna have like an unsure footing in the sub bass, then the rest of the track is gonna like you can't anchor the rest of the track to the bass if the bass is not anchorable or unable to be built onto, if that makes sense. But aside from that, let's talk about the things we did like about this track. Hey, I like the Spangalese vocals. That was cool. I'm sure it's probably some language that I don't understand. Which I don't understand a lot of languages, but I also do understand a few languages. So that was cool. I feel like you could probably like move into because this could be like that world music adjacent. So aside from referencing Forever Young, which you totally should do, you could also reference Schmungel Tales for the Inexpressible, I believe is the album that I'm looking for here. Where they have like a lot of that like pseudo Hindu fucking high end vocal that has like the same timbral characteristics where you're using like a lot of glitched out and processed like female vocals. That could be something you could look into as well.
Yeah, honestly,
but
that's
yeah,
a great idea. Spangle would be a good reference because they also have like the same level of bass. I would say like the mix down is also the same, So yeah, that's a good.
Anyway, go ahead, take us away, Magnet. Run us home.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you pretty much nailed everything, man. Like the vocals and guitar aren't really that well balanced. I mean, like the problem is the guitar is lost. That's the thing. Like I also didn't really hear much of a guitar. So yeah, I would definitely try and figure out a way to make the guitar a little louder, or maybe just not have the guitar at all. Or if you really do feel like you want the guitar and making it louder doesn't fix it at all, you could also try dynamically removing the frequencies out of the other sounds, similar to what we were kind of talking about earlier with the high-end clarity. Yeah, I think that would be That would be good. But yeah, so those are my thoughts on that. Is the vocal processing, like the reverb delay, enhancing the feel, or does anything sound off or overdone? I thought that actually was really good. I think the vocals, similar to Dino, I think those are like my favorite thing in this song.
Oh, there's the guitar.
That's the guitar. That's the guitar.
There's the guitar. With that huge bass tone under it.
Yeah, I feel like the guitar also doesn't help the track in that context. I wished it would have just continued to be like the lead vocal that kind of kept the front of the stage. But yeah, if you are going to do something like this, just try and tease it more. So maybe you can use that in the breakdown and throughout earlier parts of the drop.
So I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I'm gonna interject for just a second. When people tell me about guitar, like I want a guitar in my track, the qualities that I'm looking for in a guitar is a sharp transient, bright, airy, sparkly tones. And if you're gonna have a muted guitar in a track where there's already a lot of bass, there's no, like, why even have it?
Yeah.
You know?
No, I agree with what you're saying. It's like it
It's
just doesn't feel like
all
it belongs.
sustain and no attack. Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah, I feel that. But it's a cool idea. It's just like I would carry on with the vocals more than the guitar in this case. But yeah, Dino spit facts there. Does the mix during the drop hit with the clarity and impact it needs, or does it lose some of the energy due to the balance issues? Well, it definitely doesn't hit as clearly as it could. I think some of that is because of reverb. I can't exactly tell. But it doesn't sound bad though. I think it's just you could take away a little bit more before you get to the drop, because it's not quite as like open feeling as I think most would like, and that usually means that there's a little bit too much information. Usually the place that I look is the low mids and low frequencies. I find that the more of that I can bring out just a little bit more during this build up section, then when I give it back during like that drop point, it just feels really good because you have this nice big clean like snap of the fingers opening of a lot of frequencies. So yeah, that's my thought process on that. And yeah, I think Dino already kind of mentioned pretty much everything I was feeling. So yeah, still a really cool song. I liked the message about watching travel real estate videos. That is definitely the vibe of this song. I don't know if that's good or bad, but it's kind of a flex.
All right, boys, we're about to go hard. No mercy on this guy. He knows better.
Oh yeah, this is true. Definitely. All right, thank you.
All right, hold on. Let me turn it up too.
Yeah, this is another.
What? How many loves do we hit on this track?
Like -4 or 5.
Okay, it's fine where it's at then. Go ahead.
I think I'm not gonna go 100% on that, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, this is like another flip that I want to finish.
See, chat, we're not immune to it. Sometimes we overstack the high end too, or maybe we produce on headphones that have a lot of good high end separation and clarity. And yeah, you made this on the Sundaris, didn't you?
I don't think I did. I think I used the 990s on this.
also have a lot of good high end separation clicking.
Yeah.
So towards the end there, your high end was a little cluttered. I'm not even. Oh, that is question one. Addressing the arrangement in the mix. Does anything feel weird or harsh? Yeah, the high end feels weird and harsh a little bit. And then as far as like actual arrangement stuff goes, did you do this in an hour and you didn't pick it up again after that, or what?
I think I worked on this for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I picked it
Okay.
up for like another hour afterwards, I would say.
So the chugging rhythm that you have that's going in the main drop, even after the first drop, it feels immediately stale because that's more of a response sound, and I feel like you don't have very much call and response going. So that could be something, and the type of call that I'm looking for is like so I don't know, like, so you have fills that happen at the end of a bar, right? Okay.
Right.
And so I'm looking for like a fill style call, like a.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes
Like
sense.
a high, and it's something you do all the time, which is why I asked, like, have you worked on this? And you probably didn't get to the point where you were able to do like a lot of like melodic edits and micro cuts and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
'Cause I
I
know that
kind
you
of
do it.
just started hinting towards that, but I did not. Yeah, that's a good
Whoa! Question two is addressed by my answer in question one. It's almost like the man knew that it. I didn't even read question two when I was like, that chug bass gets old.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know. Maybe I should just do what I like. I sometimes get nervous that, like, if I change things too much, are people going to like it? You know, maybe that's not what I should do. Just say fuck it.
Maybe you should make music that you like, and if other people like
100%.
it, cool, and if they don't, that's okay too.
Yeah, I like it too, but I feel like it's like, I don't know. It's okay.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I feel
Not
on the
not
chugging
everybody likes pistachio rosewater ice cream, but for those of us who do, it's the best.
bass. What the fuck is that? Well, that would not be me. Then again, I don't know if I'd like it or not. I guess I haven't tried it before.
Do you like pistachios?
They're not bad. Yeah, I think pistachios are good.
Do you like salty ice cream like pralines and caramel and butter
Yeah,
pecan and
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Okay.
The rose water had
Alright.
me though. What the fuck?
Do you like rosewater pastries like Russian tea cakes and
I don't know if I've had anything like that.
baklava and that kind of stuff? You've never had baklava? Being real right now?
No, I don't think I have. Maybe I have and I didn't
You
know what it
are-
was.
It's like layered phyllo dough with honey and rosewater and pistachio crumble, and
God, I feel like I've had that when I was younger, but I just don't
I'm gonna
remember.
have a word with Carmen once we're done in this beef. I'm gonna send her the shopping list, and you guys are gonna get cultured a little. But anyway,
Word.
the point I'm trying to make is sometimes our tastes are not for everybody, and that's okay. But we like what we like, and we're bound to meet other people who like that stuff. And I think that's how you kind of really build a following. Like when I listen to your tracks, especially this stuff that has like the piano stuff, I'm really picking up like a lot of like peak flume vibes, you know? It has that quiet, subdued, melodic high end, and then it just goes into the you know, like,
Yeah.
and that's something that I think Ian kind of hit it on the head. Like, sub wasn't hitting in my headphones, but their beats. That's strange. Beats are known for having too much sub. The sub was fine. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
I think Magduet has to try to fuck up the sub to fuck up the sub.
Yeah, I definitely have gotten pretty scientific about it. But I've been experimenting
Yeah.
with some stuff sub related, but definitely not in this song. In this song, I kept it simple. I kept it straightforward.
And then are the claps in the second half too loud or do they sound good? I didn't perceive them as being too loud. I didn't perceive any of the levels as being a problem. My main gripe was the fact that like the chug bass just felt so stale so quickly, and which honestly you shouldn't have, because it was sick sound design. It was a sick. It just the flow was not like.
No, I get it. I feel like that call response it does not have, which I think is what makes a lot of these styles of music more exciting and fun. So,
Right. And so to answer hidden tech question number 4, okay. Question 4 no jutsu.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Shadow technique.
Yeah, for real. For real.
Band style hidden fourth question.
Jesus. Yeah.
What you could do is you could variate, because you are cycling either 2 or 3 different chugs here, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. You could do 16 bars of the same chug, right? Because you have 1 bar is your fill call, and then you have 3 bars of chug, right? And then
Right.
the next one would be the other one, and then the third one would be a variation of the first one, and the fourth one would be a variation of the second one. And you would use the same chug for all 16 bars, right? Even because it's technically only 12 bars of the chug, but because you have that variation in the call, you have now extended, you've given yourself 3 times as much length or 4 times as much length off of 1 chug. And because you're using 2 or 3 different chugs, you could extend your track that way very easily.
Hell yeah.
You know, because right now you're doing what, 4 bars or 8 bars of 1 chug, and then you're moving to the next chug.
Yeah, I think it's 8 bars.
8 bars, and is it 2 or 3 chugs? It's got to be 2. It's a minute long.
I think it is. I think it's actually 2. Well, no. I think it is actually 3. It's just that they come in at weird. So whenever I'm pitching them around is usually when I was using different ones. So
Gotcha.
It's probably just 1 chug most of the time, but then of course there are these moments where you get the 2 and 3 chugs.
And so if you do 3 chugs, right? Get this hidden technique number 4 that we're going for. All right. This is some extra super gate kept fucking lazy arrangement stuff. This comes from the house music days. Okay. Drop 1 is chugs 1 and 2. Okay.
Okay.
Drop 2 is chug 2 or chug 3, right? Which is a little bit longer. Drop 3, hidden drop 3, variation in production, VIP, whatever you want to call it. Maybe put all that together. Is the same structure, but now you're cycling in your chugs. Instead of having the same chug 3 times in a row, it's chug 1, chug 2, chug 3. Chug 1, chug 2, chug 3. Chug 1, chug 2, chug 3. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. And then in that way you're referencing stuff that we've already heard, stuff that we're already familiar with, stuff that we're already comfortable with, and we're using it again, and we're using it in a fresh manner. It's extremely lazy, but it's also fresh, or it could be fresh. You know,
it's air quotes lazy, but
right. And it comes from like the house music, like syncopated bass days, where you have like kick bass, right? Where you have that boom, 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 right?
Right.
And so then you have your 1 bass in the first drop, your 2nd bass in the second drop, 3rd bass in the 3rd drop, and then in the 4th, because you have 4 kicks to a bar and 4 bass shots to a bar, you can do, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, that is one way you could extend it. I feel like this could be louder. I feel like you could do a little bit more interplay between the organic and inorganic sounds, but that's just me. I love blending that and messing with the boundaries of what is acceptable in that regard. And like I said, like you have your own sound, and I like your sound, and I know there's people in this chat who like your sound. But there's going to be people who don't like your sound, who don't vibe with your sound. So why are we trying to make our sound appeal to as many people as possible? Well, like, it's going to be like the jack of all trades and the master of none kind of thing, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, that's,
you know?
Yeah. No, it's
we want our rabid fans to be rabid fans.
I feel like most of the time I don't rationalize those types of thoughts either, but when you have an hour, it's like, yeah, it should be fine. But then it's like, yeah, I guess now that I'm trying to take this further, that's probably the next thing I'll focus on.
Yeah.
Because I feel you.
Because I know from flock flips, which happen on Thursdays and Sundays at 9:00 Eastern, be there, be square wave. That generally the idea is, like, I spend a good 10 to 15 minutes just trying to figure out how I'm going to use these dog water samples that I got provided, right? Because when I do flip, I'm an all the samples kind of flipper, and I think you are too.
I definitely try and use as many as possible, which is not easy, but it's fun. It's fun.
I don't know. Go put it inside.
Oh,
Oh, she probably
it's
chewed
like
it off
a
as something. She's a destructive German Shepherd. Anyway, sorry.
no, you're good.
Um,
It's like a puzzle, right? It's like solve the
yeah,
puzzle, and it's fun. So yeah.
yeah.
Well, word. No,
So,
thank you.
chat, what'd you guys think of the track, chat? Can we cook him?
Yeah. What do you guys think? What
Can
sucked?
we can we can we boil them, mash them, and stick them in a stew?
No, that'd be you because you're the baked potato.
I'm the potato. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, word.
Can we move on? Are we satisfied? Do we have anything from the chat? Is the arrangement and mix okay? Feel weird and harsh? Anything like that?
Yeah, I know. I'm definitely going to explore the call and response more.
And I feel like when you ask your questions, like you already know the answer to that question. You're just looking for someone else's like perspective on it.
Yeah,
You
which
know?
maybe I should try and get better at not asking those questions too. But I think that it's hard
Yeah.
because of the imposter syndrome of it all. It's like
Yeah. Well,
it's like
you
what
got to
is it?
remember, people are coming to you for advice too. It's not like you're not without your expertise. Like
Oh no,
that's
yeah, it's the imposter syndrome. But also it's me trying new stuff always, right? Like because I'm always
right.
trying new things, it's like, okay, I'm venturing a little bit further out on this branch. Is the branch snapping or not? Like the branch
Yeah.
is not
Yeah, for
snapping.
sure.
Okay, cool. But anyway.
Have you tried pulling real along in this journey at trying new things? Okay, I'm done.
No, reel's locked in, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with not trying new things too. It's really just my own
All right.
personal thing.
Do we
Anyway,
have questions, Mr. Venus Fly?
I think he did. Hang on, let me pull up
He did. He
my
did.
thing.
He had questions he had a forbidden question, but I also see that he's got the green heart flower next to him, so we got to be nice. We don't want him to leave and never come back.
Yeah, welcome,
Okay.
welcome, Venus.
Welcome, brother.
He flipped the other night. I saw
Did he?
you. Yes, I think it was Thursday. In fact, it was yesterday.
Wish
Yeah,
I could.
there you go.
Wish I could have been there.
Yeah, honestly, it was pretty fire. But anyway, all right, Venus. Let's see. Astronaut Venus ID wave.
Go ahead, Magnet. Wait, hold on. Venus, I see you here in the chat. Hey, buddy, how you doing? My name's Dino. I've been producing so long that my production skills can drive a car. Put it that way. How long have you been producing for, friend? We're looking at months, years, weeks, 1.5 to 2 years, 10 years. Okay. All right. So we're gonna take that into account with this. Changes things. Multi-genres. All right. New to tear out, rhythm, whatever you want to call this.
Yeah, I guess it's almost like more rhythm.
All right. Go ahead, Magnet.
Yeah, I mean, so is the mix too quiet? That's a funny question. That's a ha.
It's a forbidden question.
That is a little forbidden. What if I said yes? No, I'm just kidding.
It was too quiet, but that's not one of the things that I wouldn't be addressing that yet.
I don't think
Anyway,
I don't think it was technically too quiet. I just think that I mean, kind of. It's not. It's too dynamic, is what I'm trying to say. All right, like this style of music should not have as much dynamics as you are letting it have, is what I'm basically saying. You're soft clipping at 0 dB. That's cool. Then maybe try like hard clipping at like a lower decibel, and then boosting again into your clipper or another limiter, of course.
And using multiple clippers across multiple buses, across multiple groups,
Yeah.
and then routing them into the same. Are you familiar with clip to zero? Do you know what that is?
Because the idea here is dope. It's just like if you looked at other styles, you're like a couple. He's not even that far off as far as loudness goes. It's just the dynamics of the stuff is like a little bit too dynamic. Not that much dynamic. Like it's really not that far off. That's why it's like
Not everything was at the same level of loudness that it could have been at.
yes.
Yeah, he only clips master is what they're saying is they only clip master.
Okay, yeah. So definitely clip individual tracks and or buses, minimum buses. But definitely individual tracks is like the hard flex. Yeah, clip all of those at like an arbitrary number, like -6 or -4. And I mean hard clip, not soft clip. And then then after you do all that, you can boost it at the end, like, because what it's going to do is it's going to basically it's going to remove dynamics like a limiter would, right? But even more aggressively. So at the end, you're adding back that like reduced volume from clipping, essentially.
So I think a good way to look at it is if you consider like what something like OTT, a multi-band compressor, is doing, you want to try and like multi-band clip. You want to clip all of the frequencies to the same, especially with a fucking genre like this. I fucking hate this stuff. Anyway, sorry. That's neither here nor there. You want the frequency to be as full as possible across all levels. Unfortunately, that's the convention of this genre. And I feel like sorry, this is your go, Magda. Sorry, go ahead.
I think a good reference for this like style of loudness is Dex Amp. He doesn't make this specific genre, but I feel like his mix downs are the like loudest, most like heinous mix downs, and yet they're just so clean. So yeah, Dex Amp, DEXAMP. Would highly recommend checking out his music. Anyway, yeah, so mix is like a teeny bit too quiet, but not in like the conventional sense. It's just not. It's too dynamic. Is probably the better word to use here. Are my heavy synths under enough compression? No. So that's I guess kind of like it's for the same reason, right? Like if you're clipping everything at these arbitrary numbers, if you're doing the clip to zero strategy, the bathymetrics strategy, you're going to end up dynamically controlling everything, which lets your track feel fuller and feel louder without really changing too much. Like you're not really changing a lot, but you are changing the dynamics. So yeah, it's like
you're also not shaving transients like you would with a compressor.
Exactly. Yeah, clippers are great for that. But anyway, so yeah, I would start clipping more, and not like from the standpoint of like clipping more aggressively, but just adding more clippers across more things, kind of doing more of a Mariska doll of like clippers rather than just like one big clipper on just the master. Should you slow the tempo? No, I thought it was good. I thought the tempo was fine. Yeah, definitely a cool vibe. Fits right into the rhythm vibe. It's just, yeah, you can go further. You can get even louder, even more dastardly. And a lot of that also comes from stereo information too. But yeah, I think 150 is great. I've been thinking about that a lot. And yeah, I think 150 is fantastic. I don't know.
Is 145 even a common speed?
Yeah, 145 is pretty, maybe not for rhythm, but for dubstep in general, like this, like two, like halftime type stuff, definitely.
72 and a half, that's strange.
Well, it's one of those things where, okay, I see what you're saying, but it's like rhythm probably is more 150, but I would say like tear out can get slower quite quickly.
Yeah.
And tear out's almost dubstep, which definitely could be 145.
The great Percy has
145
spoken.
is the most common rhythm. Interesting. So I guess I listen to like fast shit Yeah, that's true. That is a good reason. Thank you, Percy, for your wisdom.
You know what else? You know what else mixes between 150 and 140? 150 and 140.
True. That's true.
Sorry, that grinds my gears. You don't have to take one all the way up. You can meet them both in the middle. You can speed one up and slow the other one down. But that would require actual beat matching skills. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah, dude, you're flexing. You're flexing. That's definitely something that I'm sad about. But as far as DJs go, please learn how to beat match if you're a DJ. It's just not that hard, and it's fun. It lets you do a whole lot of creative things. Anyway,
All right.
those are my answers. Dino, take it away. I thought it was a cool track. Definitely keep working on this one.
Is the mix down too quiet? Absolutely not. But there are sections of the frequency range that need to be louder. Nothing is too quiet. Like the things that are loud are at the loudness they could be and should be. But if you bring up, like, for instance, the mid range a little more, I felt like was something that was really lacking because we had the and the sound design in this was pretty good, I thought. But if we had like some more mid range frequency and we had a little bit less like of that contrast between the two, that would reduce some of the dynamics, like Magda was saying, and you would be able to eke out some extra lufs that way. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what it sounds like as long as you're hitting that -3, right? Anyway, yeah, that's right. Are my heavy synths under enough compression? I feel like we addressed that plenty. Should I slow the tempo? That's up to you. That is an artistic choice for a question that only you can answer. Yeah. If you wanted my opinion on what tempo this track should be, I would answer 0 because I don't like this kind of music. But
Damn, 0. I don't even think you can put that into a DAW. That's like you'd have to basically like break the whole entire like cosmos.
that's hitting the start stop button on your record player.
Yeah, true. Fair enough.
But so as far as your questions go, the reason is the mix down too quiet. I'm gonna address forbidden questions real quick, just for the whole world to know. Like loudness, no, don't come with a different vibe. Make what you're gonna make what you're currently making. Make something that you intend on releasing. You know, you're not. I just told this to Magda.
You're not trying to please.
I make
Dino.
music for me.
Yeah. Sorry, no.
I make music for me. Magda makes music for Magda. Venus Fly should make music for Venus Fly. Right? Make what you enjoy and we'll help you polish and reach that. Just because I don't like it doesn't mean I'm not going to help you make it better. Right? To genre conventions. Better to genre conventions. Okay? Because once again, in my opinion, making it better is, but that's just like my opinion. So is the mix down too high? So the reason that's a forbidden question, like, and other examples of forbidden questions, like how's the mastering, like that kind of stuff, like that last like 2% tracks, I just perform rhythm. And if you plan on making this track to play it out, like that is something that we can address. Because I'm out here with my little baby sound system. Like, so if you plan on playing this track out at a show or something, that is definitely something I can help, you know, and would love to give people feedback on that, because I love to see sound systems not catch on fire. Anyway, so if you're gonna ask a track that's about like finishing polished stuff, like end level stuff, I'm gonna assume that like your instrumentation is where you want it to be, your arrangements where you want it to be, your levels are where you want them to be, and if they're not up to a standard that we think would be acceptable, like we'll let you know. And I am known for not sugarcoating things. The other two questions, like, are my heavy synths under enough compression? Should I slow the tempo? Like, these are once again questions that only you can answer as an artist, because it's like when I imagine something in my head and I try and put it into the DAW or whatever, it doesn't always translate right, but it's my vision that I should be going for. And I wouldn't want to, as someone providing feedback, I wouldn't want to dilute your vision and try and steer it in a way that I would do it for myself. Just like when I submit my tracks, I don't want to put, now if you say, hey, what would you do? Like, what is some arrangement advice? Like, I'll give some advice on that. But as far as like artistic choices, like the tempo, that is 100% your choice. And it would be remiss of me to be like, oh, it should be like 172, because in my opinion, every track should be 172. But that's neither here nor there. But welcome to the community. Sundays and Thursdays at 9:00 Eastern, we do what?
The flock flips. I was waiting for the chat. The flock flips, someone flock flip in the chat. Flock flip in the chat.
But and then as far as like actual rhythm goes, I didn't hate this. This is good. I like the sound design a lot, because normally, and I don't know where I get this association from. It's probably because tear out, but like to me, tear out just sounds like glass breaking and nails on a chalkboard. That's all tear out is to me. Like that is 100%. And like it doesn't matter how good Muerte makes a track or Volume makes a track or whatever, just because I have that negative association in my mind, like it's all always going to sound like that to me, and you can't convince me otherwise, because I'm stubborn and old and set in my ways. So yeah.
So yeah, that was still a really fire track. Please start doing Clip to Zero. If you haven't heard of what that is, just look it up. It's so good.
What, a 27-hour class?
Yeah. I also teach it, but that's up to you. Because I don't teach for free. But regardless, yeah, the Clip to Zero is the way.
I think the real question is, do you want to spend what is like the $25 or something it is to learn in an hour, or do you want to spend 27 hours and learn it for free?
This is true. But also having Ableton is kind of like, I don't want to say a prerequisite, but it helps a lot. So, but I
triggered Percy.
He doesn't
Mission
primarily make
accomplished.
70 to 75 BPM. He makes Neuro hop. Volume is not tear out. Yeah, that is pretty accurate. Honestly.
Look, I love Tipper's dubstep as much as the next guy. We'll see if Colin's here.
Oh no. But yeah, thank you very much, Venus. We look forward to hanging out with you. You have both FL and Ableton, but you only use FL. Well, that's fine. I obviously could teach in anything. I have FL too, and I love FL Studio. I used to use it for a very long time.
We actually just recommended someone get FL Studio earlier. It was crazy.
Yeah, FL's dope.
And then we both had a little bit of post-nut clarity, and we're like, hold on a second.
Yeah, just get Logic. Anyway, all right. We're going to do Percy next because Enki asked to be last again, and I don't think anyone's going to be upset.
So once again, forbidden questions here. All three of these are like forbidden questions, if you ask me.
It is a little forbidden, but also like mine are partially forbidden. But like, you can see how I get specific with it, right? Like, yeah.
You know I trust you. How loud is this, Percy? Is this the 0.3 LUFS or minus 0.3 LUFS? Do I need to turn this down?
I don't think you should have to turn it down.
Yes, I have to turn it down.
Loud. Sub is loud.
All right, let's hear it. What is it? 28 seconds?
Yep, we're thinking twice. Percy. Here we go.
Think twice.
Okay, so the sub is not as loud as the high end at all.
This is the level of dynamic compression that we're talking about, by the way, Venus. Like this is like
this is a very good example of. I had this quieter than I had your track, brother, and this is like way louder. Like it came out louder. This almost legitimately hurt my ears. If I had kept it at the same volume as the last track, it would have hurt my ears. Which my dog did not enjoy this track either. She's looking at me like, "Why would you do this to me, you evil bastard?" Huh, doggy?
That was super silly, Percy. That was
was really silly. Okay, is it too loud or is there fun in the crunchiness? It is too loud, but there is still fun in the crunchiness, right? Come here, doggy. Come on. Percy says he's sorry. You forgive Percy for being a Rudy poo and not warning us that it was too loud? Yeah? Okay. She's happy. She says you're okay.
The dog whisperer.
So, yeah. Is it too loud or is this fun crunchiness? It is fun crunchiness, but it is too loud. You could definitely like hit us with a little bit of on that high end, you know? Actually not so much the high end, but like the mid high, low highs. You know what I'm talking about. It was in there. It was a little bit too much. How are the flows? The flows are fine. How's the sound design? The sound design was good. You said you trust our input. Okay. Yeah, 1 to 3 kill. Yeah, probably right around there. It was just really loud. As far as the sub, in order to get the sub to be consistent with the sub levels of the other tracks that have decent sub that I've heard today, you would have to go either 33% louder on the sub or 33% quieter on the high, mids, and highs, and then 33% louder with everything else. And I would not recommend going louder across the board. I would recommend cutting down the highs and the lows, or highs and the mids, and then boosting everything instead of just trying to make the sub louder, if that makes sense. Because it was not coming through in the way that I think you would want it to come through. I'm just saying, Percy. Just saying. In comparison to the other tracks that I've heard today that had a proper loudness across the spectrum, the bass was... And also, you got to consider, like, it could also be that those tracks were mixed down and mastered for systems that are using 4 times more subwoofers than they actually need. Yeah. Yeah, Ian likes tamed highs more than most. I think a lot of people like tamed highs. I think a lot of people don't like having their tinnitus activated.
Yeah, I mean, as someone who has been conscious of that recently, Percy, because I've obviously, you know me, dude, I fucking make really loud ass music. I have been really conscious of the first impression. So like whenever I do mixes and masters, I've been really focused on like setting it down for a day, come back to it and see if it's too harsh. And like a lot of the times that will be good enough. You'll come back the next day and you'll like fresh, you know, same volume, maybe full volume, whatever, right? Like really try and feel the song and you'll probably notice pretty quickly. But I feel like this wasn't that bad. It's just, it does feel like like it's so close, honestly. Like it's really not that bad.
Especially for hitting G sharp, like this should be coming out a lot louder out of my system.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
I think if you balance the sub to be a little louder, and then I do agree with the way Dino said to do it though. Like I would cut the mids and highs and then boost everything a little bit more. And I think you'll be sitting perfect. Because once that's balanced like a little bit more flat, obviously not flat, but you know what I mean? Like once the subs are a little bit louder and the highs and mids are a little bit quieter, I think you'll get that feeling of like really full, really loud, but it won't be quite as harsh because of the, you know how it is, the psychoacoustics of wanting to focus more on the high end just because we're able to focus on them more. Like the sub is harder to focus on, especially if you don't even have a subwoofer as well. And yeah, on my headphones, it's not bad. Like it's really not bad. But I can't really tell the sub. It sounds like he's hitting a high note. Like it sounds like he's hitting like way up somewhere here. Like I don't even really feel any sub too much, to be honest. Like as far as like the note itself. So maybe you could add like another harmonic below wherever it is that you're hitting. The sub has lots of movement. Yes, but I think it's hitting like really high frequencies, like or higher frequencies than I would expect. Oh, it could also just be the fact that like So I think you're using like a square sub or something, like a square to something. Like it could be a lot of that, right? Because it's like this square wave. There's like so much extra stuff on top of the sub that it's like too mid-rangey. I don't know how to describe it other than that. It is a square sub.
So it meters well, right? But I can tell you the real life experience of it with a again, a little bit of a sound system here, would be, it doesn't translate well, unfortunately. Now let's talk about the things that I did enjoy. As far as the sound design goes, I like the spectral like laser zap in the high end that you're going, like the actual timbral qualities and the content that you have. The melodic content is very, very nice. It's very cutting edge. It's very 2027. And yeah, like keep at it. Again, if it were me, if I were you, because you said you trust my input, I would also set this genre to 0 BPM and work on something a little more worthwhile. That's a little less of a flash in the frying pan type situation, because this genre is about to come and go very quickly. This stuff, I would even argue that it's on its way out already, or could be on its way out already. And I haven't been wrong with genre predictions. Does the second flow come in decently, like high-end stuttery one? I like the transition you had, that the chopped up glitch kind of transition. But I have to agree with Magdu that the bass isn't coming through the way it should be. And it could also be that you're not holding the bass long enough for it to be perceived properly, if that makes sense. You need to kind of give bass a second to, you know what I mean? Like it needs some space there, which is strange because, like I said, there will always be room for some people. Yeah, rhythm is on its way. Anyway, whatever. Make what you want to make. Make what makes you happy. I missed Percy waltzes and Percy crescendos, but whatever. You know, I miss orchestra maxing Percy, but it's okay. New Percy's okay. I miss Whimpers Percy. What happened to that guy? Where'd he go? You know, before I pick up the system, I'm gonna listen to Typewrite on it, just so that I can enjoy real good music. Okay, I'm done. I love you, buddy. Go ahead, Mag.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I kind of went over some of those already. Yeah, I mean, like, it's not too loud. I think it is like you're like in the ballpark, right? So it's one of those things where it's like, how approachable do you want this to be, right? I feel like at this point, in order to make rhythm like really cool, it has to be like really approachable for like most people, which normally means that the mixdown can't be quite as harsh as I think it should be, right? Like, even though I think that kind of like vibe is like actually quite fun, it's only fun if you're not on like a really good system or like on stage, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like it's not as fun on really big systems, because then what ends up happening is these highs and mids that are quite loud become like, obviously they're quite loud. They're even louder just because the speakers are even bigger. And it's just one of those things where, yeah, the whole tinnitus activation, I think that there is something to be said about hearing damage. And that's why even in my own music, I've been trying to be more conscious of it, because, like, I don't know. It's one of those things where why not just try and make it as loud psychoacoustically as possible, right? It doesn't have to actually be loud, but you can like trick people into making them think it's loud by making certain things quiet before the loud parts, you know? So, yeah. I think that this is all my opinion, and you should do whatever you think is right. But those are my thoughts. So, yeah. Definitely a fire-ass track, though, dude. This is like textbook modern rhythm. Like little elves tinkering away in the workshop. But anyway, yeah, I assume that you have said everything you wanted to say, Dino.
Everything that's appropriate for group level, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, dude, this was dope. I think I I'm gonna go ahead and disagree with Dino. I think you should make more of this and refine it, and I think it would be fun.
I never said for him to quit making it. I never said that.
No, you missed the old
for him to
Percy.
make.
But
I said
kinda
for him
like
to
this
make
new vibe.
No. Have you heard the neuro hop that he makes?
I
have. You heard the neuro stuff?
I have, but I think it's actually
that's
really
fucking
impressive.
10 levels higher than this, though.
Yeah, but like this is something.
I feel like he makes this
some serious
specifically to upset me.
This, I think, has the potential right now to make more people happy, right? Obviously in the future, not so much because it's on the way out, but a lot of people really like rhythm right now. And I think that that's like a cool idea, is to like get good enough at what people really like to like, you know, hopefully give them a good time, you know? I feel like this would be fun.
Okay, but I know Percy's release schedule. Okay. I am 100% aware of Percy's release schedule. By the time he finishes 4 tracks of this, Rhythm will be done. People will be so rhythmed out that they're like, oh, fuck, another Rhythm track? I'm not even going to fucking, right? However, Neuro Hop, Neuro Bass, Bass Hop, however you want to slice that pie, however you want to skin that genre cat, that shit's on the up and up again. Okay? We're gonna move away from dance floor and jump up. Promise you. That's on the way out too. Okay. And we're gonna come back to more subdued, more techno adjacent, light distortion driven, nuanced drum and bass type sounds and like deep dub type sounds. I haven't even listened to the new Skrillex album, but I'm willing to bet a lot of it is what I'm describing.
It's actually surprisingly kind of more of like a revival EP, or he definitely brings back a lot of older stuff. I don't know
what is older though.
I don't know if I was happy or sad about it. I don't know. So like we're talking like 2016.
So make love and dubstep,
yeah,
or whatever,
that
era.
Era, yeah. Which I don't think that's horrible, but I do think that it's like, all right, I can see that this is not as good as his last album. All right, I'm gonna say it. All right, I said it. There you go.
No, Quest for Fire was fucking.
Quest for Fire is just one of the craziest things I've ever heard. But it's still really good. He did a good job. It was fun. It was great music, mixed well. But Quest for Fire is just too fucking fire, bro. It's too good. Anyway, yeah. Thank you, Percy.
That being said, you guys heard it here first. If you want to be ahead of, and for the past 16 years, I've been right. For the past 16 years, my predictions have been right. Within the next 2 years, it's going to be traditional dub techno. So the stuff that's like 8 minutes long and fucking repetitive as fuck. Okay. It's going to be neurofunk adjacent drum and bass. All right. And it's going to be triple D double style dubstep. That's what's going to be. That's going to be the next big room stuff. Promise you. My predictions have been spot on for the last 16 years. Within the next 2 years, those 3 things will be the top billing.
Hell yeah. Well, I look forward to it. It sounds, well, until I don't, you know. I guess you like it until
your favorite genres are played out, commercialized, and fucking. Hey guys, this is Hey Girl. Check out my latest Neuro Hop track from Native Instruments. I'm gonna hate that ad, dude.
Yeah, yeah, that's the shitty part about it. Is like a good thing happens and then people go and fuck it up, bro. People are amazing. Anyway, thank you, Percy. Thank you again. That was really nice. That was really cool.
Love you, Percy.
Really loud. Definitely got my rhythm vibe excited for the day. But now it's time to meet again.
For some real music.
We meet again, Enki. Hello.
This is what I call music 2025.
Music 2025. I see. Okay. He said to ignore this.
Oh, it was the best part.
Rendered too
Let it
far.
roll. Give it his full 3 minutes. Yeah, right there. If you're gonna put drums in, right there would be where you put the drums in.
I'm gonna go ahead
Right.
and be what is it, a wet blanket?
Very
And
good.
just say that the re space, the Neuro Reese at the end, find a better one.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it needs to be cleaner. It needs to be sturdy. It needs to be not phasing in the low end. It needs to be, fucking beefy, sturdy. I'm thinking like Cohen sound referencing.
Kick us off, Magnet. Get us started.
All right. So, first question: too much high end on vocal or too dry? It's just too dry. It's a little bit too loud as well. But it's definitely too dry. I think that if you're going to have it be that dry, that's actually not a bad thing. But you have to lead people into it with like the reverse reverbs and things like that. But the simpler way would probably be to just make it more ambient. I would still recommend some kind of like a reverse reverb trick though for the very first time that you use that vocals, just to like let people know like this is the timbre you're going to feel, just to like maintain that smoothness in the whole ambiance and energy of the track. But anyway, so those are my thoughts on that. Should I build it into drums or keep it ambient? I mean, I think Dino and I were both feeling drums. I know I was. Dino, am I right? Am I right to think that you wanted some?
You already have that sign bell rhythm that would easily translate into drums.
Yeah, like that's facts. Like you already have the rhythm locked in, which is great. So you just have to like reinforce it more as the song goes on.
Orchestral, timpanis, snares, xylophones, mallets, wood, log drums, whatever.
What kind
Something
of genre?
organic though, something
Cohen sound.
something real. Cohen sound is its own genre.
Yeah, I mean, I would say like just look up Cohen sound and see what they kind of do. Maybe not go exactly the same route, but as far as like what types of instruments,
the stuff they did with Asa and Ku.
yeah,
would
Cohen
be-
sound drums maybe. That's actually a Dino. Do you know if they sell their drums? I actually don't know.
No, but there's plenty of content on the internet on how to sound like Cohen sound with drums. If you need a finger in the right direction, we have one of our staff members is a professional Cohen sound Stan.
That's true. Gotcha. Well, yeah, I think that then using those I think would be a move. Just because like you have such a good foundation here for that style of music, in my opinion. It's pretty much like hit the nail on the head perfect. And now all you need is like some really clean Neuro basses that like get washed out into reverb and some drums. And yeah, dude, this is like the perfect bed for all of those ideas to lay in. But anyway, last question. How is the mix? Not loud enough? Not enough low end? I think the mix was actually quite nice for what was there. I think you could have been a little bit louder, a little bit, just a skosh, a little bit less dynamic, but that was kind of more personal preference than like what it actually should be. It's just like with the context of me wanting it to build into like a whole different kind of song with drums and bass and all that. There's this part of me that wants the energy or loudness of this idea, what currently that you have, to get like louder, a little bit less dynamic. Maybe not quote unquote like louder level wise, but just a little bit less dynamic. But anyway, those are my thoughts though. I thought everything was great. Those vocals were just sticking out a little bit too much. I think I already told you how you can work on that. You might even be able to also just turn down the volume of them like a little bit, just a little bit. And then dynamically bring them into the mix. Like that's what I like to do, is I actually like to bury my vocals into the mix so that I can't really feel them that well. And then I'll cut the space out of the mix for the vocals to feel like they're no longer buried. That's just something that I find helps kind of keep that mindset of like nothing goes past this bar, so that way I can make it less dynamic and therefore more loud. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Dino, what do you think? That was fucking awesome. Super relaxing.
Disregard the ending of the song. LOL. It accidentally rendered too far. Don't disregard that. That's part of the song. It sounded great. It was probably like, honestly, some of the like a really good part of the song. I would say it didn't feel like it carried on for too long, and like right at the end, like right as we were getting into like the 225 to 230 region, that's when I would start feeling like fills come in for like drums, and then you would have like your huge like neuro drop kind of thing. Too much high end on vocal or too dry? No. And yes, not too much high end on vocal. Too much pitch processing, I would say though. It could be like it's okay to have imperfections in sound, and I don't know if this is something that's already baked into the vocal or not that you're using, but I could smell the auto tune 6 miles away. I could it reeked of auto tune. Um, and with this, like it doesn't matter if it's a little bit out of key, if it's a little bit dissonant, if it's a little out of like perfect intonation or whatever. Like it doesn't have to be, but but oh. Oh, the auto tune was not baked in. Okay. Yeah, take that bitch out. And then round it off with a little bit of reverb. Like Magda was saying, like in this, and again, we're going for genre conventions. In this style of music, a dry vocal is not a happy vocal. You want it to be like definitely part and like enmeshed within everything else, part of the audible soundscape. Should I build it up to
Mag do it hybrid
build it up?
Atmos moment.
Yeah,
Mag do it
perfect.
hybrid. Honestly,
You know what I like about the hybrid Atmos? It has a one knob low pass on it, to where it only low passes the effect. And then it has like a really good dampening on it, and then it has like a really good dry wet. It's just 4 knobs, and it's the only 4 knobs you need. And it's like it uses a huge impulse response for the. Isn't it just like a white noise blip or something?
it's stereo white noise that's like LFO'd, but yes, yeah, it's basically just
Yeah.
white noise.
It's huge. It can be as big or as little as you want it to be. It sounds great. Sounds fantastic.
But is Enki in Ableton? I don't know if Enki's in Ableton.
I think so.
If you're in Ableton Enki, you should definitely check out my Patreon and get all the free racks because yeah, hybrid Atmos, dude, on this kind of style of music, it's
I
my
use
favorite.
it on pretty much every track that I make at 172 or 86 or whatever, you know. I use it in pretty much every track that is of like the slower, lower, and more subdued sound.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, I highly recommend that, Ian. It's a good idea.
yeah, you can
How
always
is
just
the
DM me.
mix?
Sorry.
Not loud enough. Not enough low end. I have to disagree with Magduit. I think the loudness was right. The low end was right. I feel like you could have been like a little more impactful with some of your sub hits. Like you could throw in like I mentioned a timpani earlier. And this is it's gonna sound silly because it's the opposite of what I always tell people. Don't sidechain it. Like maybe even ring mod sidechain it. Try and make it as transparent as possible. Try and like if you're synthesizing your basses, which you should be, like bake the transient in to the envelope hit. With like some pitch envelope stuff. Yeah, timpanis are sick. It's the big, like 3.5 foot drum that's the bass drum in an orchestra. You could just use like a huge kick drum or whatever, but the timpani, like, there's something about it. It's literally sounds like a thunder strike. Which is another thing you could use. I mentioned thunder strikes to you before. Isn't undesirable since it's more cinematic. The subphasing and impact isn't undesirable. Yeah, but you don't. I mean, you have enough headroom to where you could layer a kick into the sub and it wouldn't distort or anything, and that's generally why. But then phasing other is another issue that you would have to address if you're just gonna throw a kick willy nilly under your sub. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to just overlap them and just call it a day. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to do that. More reasons why you shouldn't than you should.
Yeah, it's like that feeling of cleanliness, right? Like how much does that matter to you, right? I feel like if you
Oh,
don't have proper phase related things happening with your kick and sub in relation to like sidechain or things like that, it's just it's
and for
dangerous,
our
right? It's not like
and for our
impossible.
tundra landscape cleanliness, for your ice desert, you want it to be really clean. You want it to be really, but I didn't get like the digital crispness out of this track that like I got from the last few submissions you gave us, which is cool. Like sometimes you don't have to be digital. Like ideally, you have digital crispness and then you warm it up a little bit. This is imagine being a non-producer. It doesn't sound cold enough or hot enough. Like how do you hear a temperature? What the fuck? Um, but yeah, I don't know. So the mix is not too quiet, I would say. Um, but there is also, it's not that there's not enough low end. It's not that the low end's not loud enough. It's that there isn't enough low end elements. And I think a lot of that could be solved and fixed by just adding in a little bit of drummy doodles, some hits here and there. And however you want to do that, like however you want to slice that pie, however you want to skin that cat. What are the other, however you want to build that house, however you want to layer that bean dip.
Yes.
It's up to you, man. But like definitely Magdio is right. You have the right stuff here to make something that's in that um in that universe, right? It's in the Cohen Sound cinematic universe. But also it's not Cohen Sound 2 Electric Boogaloo, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Because
it's
definitely
original.
yeah, we hear tracks that are Tipper 2.0 or fucking Cohen Sound 3 or just like, and that gets, I try and advocate for people to be as unique and creative while pulling inspiration from other places. Like, and I'm about to go on an AI rant. This is why I'm not concerned about AI ever stealing anything that I ever do. I'll use Magda as an example. I would say that Magda's music sounds like a bunch of different artists, but there is no one artist that I would say, oh, he sounds just like that person. Like he sounds like he pulls from, and when I listen to his music, like I hear a little bit of Tipper, I hear a little bit of Resling, I hear a little bit of Flume, I hear a little bit of like older EPROM, a little bit of Shades, like I hear a whole bunch of different artists that like he's pulled bits and pieces from, but there's no one that I would say, oh, they sound like each other, if that makes sense. Like where it's like a 1-to-1, and that's what you never want. You never want to be interchangeable with someone else. In my opinion, I wouldn't want to be, at least. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why like one of the goals as an artist should be to like figure out what your own sound is, and that involves learning what other people are doing, but then deciding on whether or not you really like all of what they're doing or some of what they're doing, or especially when it comes to like timbres and arrangement and things like that. Mixing is a little bit more objective, but it's not completely objective though. There's some subjectivity.
I'll give another example. Like I heard Percy's track earlier and I was like, God damn, this is just like vulgar.
Yeah.
Is he still in the chat?
I don't know.
No, he's not. Okay, Percy's music does not sound like vulgar. I was just trying to trigger him again. All right. And it would have worked if he were here. It would have. And you all know it. I know it. You know it. We all know it. Yeah, it's minimal and nasty at the same time. And so my definition of nastiness is when you take, again, a blend of organic and inorganic sounds, you blend them together, and then you subvert the expectations of something that is organic and natural, and you hit it with that cold, digital, raw, aggressive type of sound, right? So like something like this that has like a nasty respace come in and out of it will 100% always be nastier than a rhythm tear out track, right?
Yeah,
Even though,
because
like,
it's because dynamics, right? Like because you have such a
Right.
ridiculous like just you're going from basically ambient chill space to like the heaviest type of energy you could feel, at
And
least
it-
in
and
my
it's-
opinion, inside of like
and
sound
it's-
design.
and it's base ex machina. Like it's the god from nothing. Like it's not expected, it's not there, it's louder, it's cleaner, but it still fits, it's still the same. And I have to 100% agree with Magda, a neuro bass in here, like a really well cleaned, intentioned neuro bass, like something, and that's something you can talk to Real about and Percy about. Like they will, and even Magda, like they'll all get you in the pointed in the right direction as far as like synthesizing your own neuro basses goes. But
Yeah,
for
and
something like
and
this,
I
like,
would definitely recommend Cohen Sound just because they have a
Yeah.
Patreon too. I would start learning from them as well, just because they have like very specific sounds that they go over, which is super kind of them. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah, facts.
I don't know. I've watched all those videos. They're not really the workflow and the process is cool, like seeing how they do it, but I don't think they're really breaking any kind of like there's definitely some gatekeeping going on with those videos. But then again, there's some videos where they're like, let's just remake fucking whatever track. And they do.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I would say like they definitely do that for sure. You're not wrong, but I think that the concepts that they're describing are ones that they use. It's just they don't really go, I guess, as far as I would like into the post processing of whatever it is that they're working on. But anyway, long story short, yeah, definitely hit up either any of us or yeah, definitely a vibe. But no, I think that.
So is that it?
That's it. I mean, did
Sorry,
you want
go
to
ahead.
say anything else on this track?
Yeah, I wanted to say Sundays and Thursdays at 9 o'clock Eastern, we have the Flock Flip. Everyone say hi, Dino's dad. Hi, Dino's dad.
Hey,
With
Dino's
his
dad.
cup of tea. Yeah. And then yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's a wrap. Thank you guys for coming through. It was a happy Friday. Nothing too crazy going on.
I'll see you guys in a round of TFT. Looking at you, Mag.
Oh yeah, dude, you can't get me to play that.
Go
Is
tell
there-
her- go
am I
tell
gonna
your
get
girl-
paid? Am I gonna get?
Go tell your girlfriend that it's TFT time.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh no. What if
Unless
I
she's
don't
already
want it to
in
be
here.
TFT time?
Well, then it won't be TFT time. That's between you guys to figure out.
All right.
But like
Well,
3 days in a row now, she's been like, "Hey, let's play some TFT," and I've been like, I actually can't right now. So it's 8 o'clock where you're at. We finished 2 hours earlier than we normally do, which is crazy. We started 2 hours earlier and we finished 4 hours earlier, which is wild.
yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.
I like the new time. I know that some people may not, but for Dino and myself, I'm sure a lot of the other
It works out.
It's
That
really
and if you
great.
guys want to keep having me roast your submissions on the sound system and let you know, then this is the April and May are the months to do it. After April and May, I'm not going to be outside in 105-degree heat. Sorry, guys.
And yeah, no, this was pretty quick. I feel like it's kind of a small group of people though, as far as the and this is the first time I think where every single track was also under 3 minutes, which was great. That was very respectful. So
It's
thank you guys.
also the first time where every single track wasn't dog shit.
True. That was really
Or
fun.
there was not a dog shit track in any of the tracks tonight, I should say.
Yeah, there was no.
Because the way I said it before is like every track in the past, all of them were dog.
But yeah. Thank you guys. I guess we'll see you next week.
Friday nights for sure are precious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
right,
feel like it
lads.
leaves enough time for people to listen to their tracks and then go out and do stuff on a Friday night.
Oh yeah, dude.
Anyway, yeah, good night, guys.